Like a lot of American monuments in this post-National Treasure world, the Statue of Liberty gets a lot of attention as a possible Freemason code full of crazy symbols and hidden meanings. The truth is not that exciting, but it's still exciting. Statue of Liberty symbols are a real thing, but they're mostly of the art class variety. The Statue of Liberty torch, for example, is meant to symbolize liberty enlightening the world. The statue's actual name, by the way. The Statue of Liberty tablet has a little goof in it for typography geeks, so there might not be any Statue of Liberty codes to speak of, but the history of its construction and the thoughtfulness of its design are pretty fascinating to think about. For example, did you know that Freemasons built the thing? Read on for a Statue of Liberty history lesson and a comprehensive list of all of the symbols hidden on Lady Liberty. As the statue's official name, Liberty Enlightening the World, implies, the torch is a symbol of liberty and enlightenment. Observing that torches could also be used for destruction, one of the original idea guys behind the statue, Edouard René de la Boulaye, clarified that Lady Liberty's torch is not the torch that sets a fire, but the flambeau, the candle flame that enlightens. The National Park Service describes it as lighting the way to freedom, showing us the path to liberty. Some depictions of Libertas, the Roman goddess of liberty that partially inspired the Statue of Liberty, show her sporting what's called a Phrygian cap, which symbolizes freedom. It also makes you look a lot like a smurf. Sculptor Frederick Auguste Bartholdi chose instead a spiked diadem or aureole, like that seen in classical images of Helios, the Greek sun god. The official librarian of the Statue of Liberty National Monument say it's a halo, or what in art is called a nimbus, showing she is divine. The Statue of Liberty wears a stola and pella, gown and cloak, which are common in depictions of Roman goddesses such as Libertas, the goddess of, you guessed it, liberty. Lady Liberty is actually fairly conservative in her apparel, considering the nude or topless depictions of Libertas in other artwork that predate her. Why the cover-up? Edouard René de la Boulaye, who originally proposed the statue, was a devout Catholic and insisted that sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi cover her with a robe from head to toe. What the spikes or rays that emanate from Lady Liberty's crown symbolize exactly is a topic of some debate. The Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History simply says the 7 rays on her crown represent the 7 continents of the earth. Frummers says that the rays represent the 7 seas of the world. The National Park Service says that the 25 windows in the crown represent gemstones found on the earth. Cool, eh? The broken shackles and axe head at the feet of Lady Liberty represent the throwing off of tyranny and oppression. Some say the chains are a substitute for the broken jug that often appears alongside depictions of Libertas, the Roman goddess of liberty, a partial inspiration for the Statue of Liberty. The broken jug was meant as a symbol of confinement now ended. The National Park Service writes that statue as a whole symbolizes American independence and the end of all types of servitude and oppression. The so-called Tablet of Law, or tabula ansata, in Lady Liberty's left hand, is a fairly obvious symbol, but there are some interesting details to note. It is inscribed in a low relief with Julia Wunderlich, July 4, 1776, to recognize, obviously, the creation of the United States of America. Astute, insufferable typography nerds, however, will note that the lettering is not Roman but sans serif, which is odd for a depiction of Roman numerals on a Roman goddess-inspired statue. The shape of Lady Liberty's tablet is an interesting symbolic detail, as the National Park Service points out. It's called a keystone, which is an architectural stone that keeps the others together. The NPS observes that the keystone of this nation is the fact that it is based on law, and without law, freedom and democracy would not prevail. If you look closely at Lady Liberty's toes, you'll notice that she has so-called Greek feet, where the second toe is longer than the big toe. This is also known as Morton's toe, because surgeon Dudley Morton first described it as a condition in 1927. Some scholars think sculptor Frederick Auguste Bartholdi gave her Greek feet as a way of defining her heritage from the earliest days of civilization, since it was an aesthetic preference for showing off sandaled feet by makers of ancient Greek statuary. Lady Liberty is not standing still. It may appear that way to a casual observer, but she is, in fact, on the go. This is said to be symbolic of leading the way and lighting the path to liberty and freedom. There's an aesthetic reason for her stride as well. Sculptor Frederick Auguste Bartholdi described it in his original patent as the right leg, with its lower limb thrown back, is bent, resting upon the bent toe, thus giving grace to the general attitude of the figure. The pedestal of the Statue of Liberty isn't as soaked in symbolism as the rest of it. Author Louis Auchincloss, however, says the pedestal craggily evokes the power of an ancient Europe over which rises the dominating figure of the Statue of Liberty. Architect Richard Morris Hunt designed the pedestal, for which he received widespread acclaim. Some critics, however, say there is little deftness and even less classicism in it, saying it is ponderous with columns of an indeterminate order. Architect Fight. One feature of the pedestal that was intended to be symbolic is the row of shields that circle it. Architect Richard Morris Hunt intended the 40 shields to represent the 40 states of the Union. Each shield would represent a state in some way, basically. His idea, however, never came into fruition, leaving the shields as an abstract element. Why is the Statue of Liberty facing away from the United States? Paul Goldberger with the New York Times says it faces out to the sea, and it performs a gesture of welcoming. The statue, to Goldberger, actually turns the harbor into a door. It makes the place where the sea becomes New York Bay an entry, not just a body of water, and it makes the city itself, not to mention the nation that lies to its west, seem more tangible, more understandable, more coherent as a place. The National Park Service says the statue faces southeast and was strategically placed inside of Fort Wood, which was a perfect base for the statue, and was also perfect for ships entering the harbor, to see her as a welcoming symbol. Freemasons built the Statue of Liberty, so it's no surprise that their square and compasses symbol can be found on a plaque on Liberty Island. The one close to the Statue of Liberty has a G in the middle of the symbol, which either symbolizes God, great architect of the universe, also God, or geometry, depending on who you ask. The 11-pointed hendecagram star at the base of the Statue of Liberty is actually just the remnants of Fort Wood. The design existed long before the statue was conceived and is actually a fairly typical pattern for forts. If you're into conspiracy theories and numerology, you could deduce that the Freemasons chose to build the statue on an 11-pointed star because 11 can bring an extremism to it that can be difficult to contain, and they, wanted it to be extreme or something? The truth is that the site was chosen because the sculptor just really liked it, recognizing the prominence it would have in the bay. He thought the star was cool too, but there's no evidence of any symbolic reason for building on a hendecagram.